Hey everybody, this is Jason Akers with Green Acres Pest Control, coming to you from Florida. I'm on vacation this week, and we're going to do something a little bit different. Usually Fridays I release a how-to video on how to kill bed bugs or how to kill cockroaches or whatever. And this is going to be a little bit of an advice video for landlords. It kind of got me thinking, being here on vacation, who is at fault? And this is going to be one of those, like, who is responsible for the exterminator? You know, let's say, for example, also, I need to say this first. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you want to see more of my how-to videos, to subscribe to my channel and check out my website at greenacrespc.com. All right, anyway, when it comes to landlords, and this is going to be my opinion. All right, this is not, some of this is based on legal things that I know have happened to landlords and tenants, for that matter. But let's say that you move into an apartment, and the apartment has, you stay there, you move your stuff in, you get settled, a month goes by, and you realize that cockroaches have started to hatch out from around your refrigerator or your stove or whatever. And you know that you did not bring the cockroaches into the apartment. It's very hard to prove that you didn't. Because roaches breed on a 28-day cycle, typically, it's going to be really hard to prove that you didn't bring cockroaches in from, say, a restaurant or a clothing supply store or, anywhere. Or a family member didn't bring them over. And so, but you know that you didn't bring them from your house. And you're pretty positive that whoever the landlord rented to prior to you was the one that it was infested with roaches. Who is responsible? Truthfully, I believe that the landlord is responsible in this case. I think that a landlord should pay for pest control. I actually had a landlord tell me this one time, and she made a really good sense. And she explained to me, I asked her, I said, you pay a lot of money for an exterminator every month for all of your properties, because she hired me. And I know that, she's got a lot of properties that I do for her. And I'm not really expensive, but, especially because I'm doing all these multiple units and everything for her, I give her a break. I don't charge her, an awful lot of money, because I know she's trying to make a living too. And she talked to me, and she's like, well, the reason that I pay for an exterminator to do all this work is because it's my house. She's like, if I had family come into my own house and I had roaches in my own house, I would kill the roaches so that my family wouldn't take them home with them. And she's like, these are all my houses. And yes, people are paying me rent to live here, but they're still my houses. And these are my guests in my houses, and I don't want them to have bugs in their house. So, because if they move out, I've got to kill the bugs, because it's still my house. Ultimately, it is mine. And so I feel responsible for the living conditions of my tenants. So I take care of my houses. You don't find that kind of attitude in a lot of landlords, but you do find it in some, where they will take care of, pest control. But then you have other landlords that won't. And they put it solely on the renter. All right. In fact, some landlords even have it written into their rent agreement where the tenant is liable for all pest control. Now, I know of tenants who have sued landlords over pest control issues. Typically, the only thing that's awarded in that type of situation is the tenant is allowed to leave out of their lease. They don't have to stay. Like if it's a year-long lease, they can, usually leave out of their lease. They don't have to stay there. They don't have to pay separation lease, or they have to find someone to fill the lease or whatever. They can just leave. Now, usually this isn't a case where it can be pretty easily proven that the landlord was responsible for the bug problem. Now, when I say that, what I mean is, if a house stays vacant for a period of so long, I couldn't tell you how long, maybe 90 days, maybe even, a year or so. It probably has to be empty pretty long, to tell you the truth. I don't know of any actual, how long it was. The one case that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head, I know that it was a house, and it was vacant for at least 6 months before anyone moved in. They had to do some renovations and stuff. Apparently, the people that lived there before really tore the house to pieces, and they had dogs, and they went through and they scratched the floors up, and they really tore it up. So they had to do a lot of renovation. So the house was empty for 6 months. When the people moved in, within a week, there were roaches hatching out in the house. Now, in that situation, the tenant was able to prove to a judge that they didn't bring roaches in the house. That it was because of the prior tenant had brought the roaches in, and the conditions the house were in prior to the renovation and everything that was done. And what the judge did was they awarded the rent and the deposit minus a week of rent, what the judge deemed as a week, and they let them out of their lease, and they were allowed to go and find somewhere else to live. But they had to vacate the property immediately. They weren't given 30 days or whatever, because judge was giving back all the money. They said, you need to get out of your property right now because you just moved in, you can get out. And so that's the only case that I know of personally where anything was actually done, where the judge actually said, no, this is the landlord's fault and I'm going to give you back your money. So anyway, that's one instance that I know happened. So let's say you're a vacation renter and you have a condo and you're renting it, and somebody comes in and brings roaches in your condo. 2 months go by and you don't know there's roaches in your condo, but 2 months go by and someone complains about roaches in the condo. They come in, they see a roach crawl across the floor. They haven't moved anything in yet, because this happened to me, believe it or not. And you call your landlord and you tell him, this place has roaches. I can't stay here. I am not taking roaches to my house. I haven't even moved half of my things in this house, and there are roaches coming from underneath your refrigerator. I didn't bring them in here. There was, what do you do in that situation? Now, what we did was, now we had more problems than just the roaches, but I'm only going to go into roaches. That's all I'm talking about in the video. But we actually were able to get all of our rent back minus the day we stayed. We did stay that night because we got in late, and we didn't really notice the roaches until, actually right before we went to bed, I noticed the roaches. And I was like, this is not a place I'm going to stay, but it was really late. And so we went ahead and went to bed, and there was nothing in the kitchen. I was so paranoid. I remember being so paranoid I was going to take these things home with me. And this seems to happen to me every time I go on vacation. When I don't have any pesticide or anything with me, because I'm on vacation, I'm not thinking about bugs. This always happens. Every time. It hasn't happened this trip because I had to kill bed bugs on my way to Florida, so I've got a tank of chemical out there inside my car. So no bugs have bothered me this time. It's like they know. Anyway, that's beside the point. I'm rambling now. So we were able to get back all of our money minus the one night, and that actually, I believe it was the vacation rental company that awarded us back our money. Their landlord was not really going to help all that much at all. And he actually kicked us out because we were complaining about the cockroaches in the kitchen. And so that was a little aggravating. But in that case, really it is the landlord's responsibility. You can't prove who brought the roaches in. You can't prove if it was the people that were right before. You can't prove it wasn't people 3 or 4 months ago, because roaches breed on a 28-day cycle. So they could have been there for a month or more and you would never know they were there. And so it's not like just last week someone brought roaches in, which it's possible, but you can't prove it. It's really going to be difficult to prove that way. And so it's a lot harder, and it's better. My advice, and my video has gone on real long now, so I'll just break it down for you. My advice for a landlord is pay for an exterminator. It's not worth the trouble, and it's going to cover you in the long run. And if, bugs do end up in your property, you can say, no, you brought them because I pay for pest control. These are my receipts. This is when my bug guy was here. You need to pay for damages done to my property. You need to pay for missed rent of my property because I couldn't rent the property for this long a time because you brought bugs in my property and no one wants to rent it with bugs. Or I had to rent it half price, or I had to tell people, and all the things that come with that. You can prove that you have pest control because you have receipts. That helps. And that's the only thing that I could advise you to do, honestly, and that's going to help. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say for now. I hope this video has been beneficial. Hope you guys, don't have any bugs. Like my video if you like it. Leave me some comments below, any suggestions or any advice you might have for any landlords or tenants for that matter. Don't hesitate to leave it below. Give me some stories of things that have happened to you, renting or renter. Y'all have a great night. Visit my webpage, greenacrespc.com. Check out my Facebook, Green Acres Pest Control LLC. And I'll be talking to y'all later. Thanks.